You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 78. Mistakes, fears, misconceptions. Why you don't like your fat body. I'm your host, Victoria Wellesby. Let's do it.
Perfect.
I'm Victoria Wellesby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident, fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money, and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty Podcast. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to this episode. How are you doing? Are you all right? I'm all right. Good. You're all right. Nice to see you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I've got an eyelash in my eye. It's so annoying. You just hate that. Do you know what a little fix for that is? If you've got an eyelash in your eye, it's to blow your nose. Don't know if you know that one. Also learned another little, I didn't just learn that today, but I learned a different hack today. I went to have some lunch today and I had bought a baguette, a French baguette, crusty on the outside, soft in the middle. That motherfucker was hard. So wrapped it in some kitchen roll that was wet, moist, not soaking wet. Put it in the microwave for 20 seconds. Soft again. Yep. There you go. There you go. I'm just giving, this podcast is giving you all the hacks. Hey, another thing that I've got, another hack, question mark. Someone shared in some fat group that I'm in about, you know how belts can dig into your tummy? It's annoying. And, you know, all of our sizes are different. There's, you know, sometimes it's hard to get jeans that kind of stay where they are. Anyway, and so if you don't want like a traditional belt, you can get these. But I got one. Actually got a pack of 4 on Amazon, which is like, and it's like an elastic belt that doesn't tie in the middle. It doesn't fasten in the middle, but it actually clips over your belt loops. And so the belt loops that is closer to the center, it kind of flips over and then there's a little button and then the rest of it is elastic and then you can adjust it. Really good. I got some and I got the larger size, and I would say they would probably fit up to a size 30 maybe. They're like, because they're stretchy and they can be adjusted really long. And because it's kind of like elastic, it's keeping up my trousers better than a belt. And I don't have that belt digging into my tummy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hacks galore here today. And I'm feeling very technical. You know, I've been having issues with this bloody my laptop. The new laptop that I bought. Rude. Apple, I'm cross with you, making this camera that is dog shit. And I've been recording a podcast and halfway through the video has been just freezing and stopping. And so it's fucking getting on my tits because they can't handle the recording of the video. So anyway, what I'm doing today is I'm recording on my phone through Zoom and then using the audio from my proper mic. And so the camera is my phone, because our phone cameras are so good, right? I thought, oh, should I buy a proper camera? And then I was looking online and I was like, no, like I'd have to spend like $1,000 at least. And then I was chatting to some friends at the park, and then they suggested yesterday, when you use a camera, you can get an app that connects it to your computer. And so, hey, don't go out getting any camera things, whatever they're called, webcams. like I did, spending money on a webcam that wasn't any good. Just use your phone. Just get an app and use your phone. Magic, isn't it magic? So we'll see how this one goes. So far, video looks good. I've done a little test. Video looks good. Sound looks good. I'm also now facing the window and I have light. So it's all, just like this coming together. Oh my God. But sad face, I did lose my purse this week. Isn't that the worst thing? Losing your purse? Oh, so annoying. But happy face, BC have now said that you can see up to 10 friends outside. So last week I saw 3 friends. I saw Louise Green, big fit girl. You may know her. We went and had coffee outside, and then I went to see my friends Michael J. Park and his husband Hector, and we sat and had some Coca-Cola in their garden with Caesar, their parrot that is missing feathers. It's not a parrot. It's like a version of a parrot. Anyway, Caesar will bite if you put your finger in the cage, which I didn't do because I am smart. Yes. And a reminder, when this episode is coming out, it's in the week that I'm doing this, but it's not too late. The How to Love Your Fat Body Challenge. It's happening right now. It's not too late to go and sign up. fiercefatty.com/challenge. And in it, we're talking about be in all the photos, ditch the boring clothes, and stop pulling your top down to hide your belly. fiercefatty.com/challenge. Okay, so what we're talking about today is mistakes, fears, and misconceptions around learning to accept, tolerate, like, even love your fat body. So the more and more and more I'm alive, and the more I talk to people and work with people and see stuff, the more I'm like, okay, so many people are doing this and making this mistake and have these fears, and I want to tell you about it to make sure that you're not doing the same things. Because yeah, let's share the knowledge, right? So this is what people do. People, when they've decided, okay, right, hating myself and dieting and all that shit, it ain't working for me. I'm going to learn to love my body. And so they wanted to dive into the quote unquote glamorous side of things. I know the glamorous is the right side, but the more sexy, the more interesting, the more pizzazz side of things, like I'm going to, the outcomes. I want to move straight to the outcomes of wearing the clothes, wearing the bikini, wearing the crop top, wearing the sleeveless shirt, or doing the photo shoot, or dating, or doing cool shit. And they're like, right, okay, now I'm going to work on loving my body. I'm going to do these things. And they either try and wait for the confidence to hit them, which that ain't gonna happen. You need to do the stuff, right? So they either try and wait for the confidence to hit them, or they're just like, right, okay, I'm gonna, even though I'm shitting my pants, I'm gonna go outside in my crotchless underwear, in my peephole bra, walk down the street, to prove to myself that I'm confident. And then they traumatize themselves, literally, and then they get arrested for having their flaps out or whatever. So it's kind of one or the other. And first we have to look at why we are at where we are currently at. And people want to skip over this bit. They want to skip over it because it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, there's no peephole bras, there's no split crotch panties, right? And we want to move forward, right? We just want to move forward to the glitz and the glam, to the red carpet of the Confidence Awards. But there's some things in here that we want to talk about. Okay, so the first misconception is that that it's unnecessary to look at why we are where we are. in regards to, I like to think about it like our confidence is a house. Okay. And we've got cracks in it. Um, Things are falling down, and it's, it's not well insulated. It's just been built not very well through no fault of our own. That's just what it is. Our confidence being represented as a house. And so when we look at this, we're like, okay, great, okay, I'm done with this house. I want a new house, which is like, let's paint it yellow, and let's put like flags on the roof, and let's put a balcony at the back and a pool, and let's do all this stuff. And that's really exciting and important to dream about what the house is going to look like and what you're going to do and all that sort of jazz. But first things first is we have to tear down that house and look at the foundations and look at what happened here. What has happened here to make this house just a bit unstable or a bit, shit. And that's boring stuff, right? Just like, whatever, just build the fucking foundations, just whatever, just get on with it. I want a pool in the back garden. So we don't have to be engineers to work out that that's not going to fly, right? And you're never going to have that big, strong house long term with those shit foundations. And then the house is going to collapse, fall into the pool, maybe while you're having a dip. And then what are you going to feel then? You're going to be like, oh my God, I tried again and it just fell down again. You'll lose even more confidence, and you'll lose more confidence, you'll have less confidence because you're like, oh, I tried so hard and it looks so good from the outside. We had the yellow walls, we had the flags on the roof, we had the balcony, all that stuff, but it fell down again. So fuck it. I can't do this. So we have to work out why we feel the way that we feel about fatness, about our bodies, about who we are, about food, all that stuff. Now, a mistake people make around this is just be like, just love yourself. Just look forward. Just let's forget about the past and toxic positivity. So if you haven't heard that term before, toxic positivity, according to verywellmind.com, toxic positivity is the belief that no matter how dire or difficult a situation is, people should maintain a positive mindset. It's a good vibes only approach to life. So sometimes it's good to be positive, right? Like, you don't want to be all the time being like, this is shit, this is bullshit. You remember that one time you did that 15 years ago, and people are like, what? Why are we still talking about this? But you still do need to sort things out before you can move on. And it's not being negative to talk about things that have hurt you in the past, and why you feel certain ways about fatness or food or whatever it is. And it's funny because we're programmed to be positive. We're programmed to be positive. How often people say to you, you go to the store, someone says, how are you? Oh, I'm fine, thanks. How are you? Good. Yeah. Nice day. Oh, it's a bit rainy out, whatever. You're not ever going to, probably not, I wouldn't say ever, but you're probably not going to be like, if someone, you get your groceries and the person's like, how are you? And you're not going to be like, do you know what? I actually feel really bad. I've got a massive turtle head. I broke up with my boyfriend yesterday, and he was a massive bellend, so I've got mixed feelings about it. And yeah, I just keep thinking about the fact that I need to have a big shit. And you probably wouldn't, that might be the reality, but you're not going to say that because it'd be weird. Maybe you say it to a friend, but it's our default is to be like, yeah, it's good, yeah, And a lot of times you don't want to be seen as like the Debbie Downer of like, oh, why is life so hard? And because it could reduce your quote unquote value in society if you're not always chipper, But that's not realistic. People are not always chipper. People are not always positive because guess what? We are human beings with human being brains, and our brains can be happy and sad and angry and mad, and all those things are different emotions. It's magical. Um, yeah, so we have to honor those. And and the thing is, like, so if you're like, yeah, but I've thought about this shit that's happened to me in the past, and yeah, it still bothers me, but come on now, let's move on because I've thought about it, and it's like, but have you really kind of thought about it and dealt with it and kind of picked it apart and all that type of stuff? Because if you had, you probably wouldn't still be ruminating on it. Like, you might think of it from time to time, but if it's something that's really like in your head and there's something that's still really hurting you, it just goes to show that maybe you need to go back and revisit it and revisit it with vim and vigor. It's kind of like if you go to the dentist and you have a cavity, all this toxic positivity. If you go to the dentist, you have a cavity, and your dentist just says to you, she sees the cavity on the X-ray, sticks that little pokey thing in, and it's cavity, this cavity, and you're like, my jaw hurts. I think I have a cavity, and then because your dentist doesn't want to be a downer, she's like, you know what? Actually, it looks great. Just move on. Just continue on. Just off. See you later. We'll see you in 6 months for a teeth cleaning. And you still got that cavity there, and no amount of toxic positivity being like, just think happy thoughts about the cavity is going to make the cavity go away. Or if the dentist acknowledged, yes, there is a cavity there, and went in to fix it, and instead of digging out all of the decay, all of the bad tooth, the rotten tooth, just put some white shit on top of it, whatever that is. Enamel? Question mark? I don't know. That white shit that they put on your teeth to cover a filling. And the rot was still underneath there. Well, that's no good either. Putting on that shiny facade is not going to help, because then it's going to go deeper and worse, and then you're going to have a root canal, and they ain't fun. Have you ever had a root canal? It's kind of funny. It's not as bad as what people think. I don't know. I still remember the feeling of it, of them going down into your roots with like a with a little. It's kind of like the whole thing I was talking about last week. Like with a COVID test, like just something being somewhere in your body that it's just like doesn't seem to belong. Yeah. So getting out that rotten tooth and that decay is messy, and it's hard, and it's not what anyone wants to do. It would just be easier just to be like, just go on your way, just think positive thoughts, let's just get over it, let's just move on, and not have to dig it out or fix it, or maybe extract the tooth, or whatever it is that needs to be done. And imagine if your dentist was a massive people pleaser. So a lot of people are people pleasers, right? And they're like, well, I don't want to like have to talk about this stuff because I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want people to not like me if I have to have a conversation with them about how, things were shit in the past or whatever. And imagine if your dentist was a real people pleaser and didn't want to say to you, you know what, we've got some bad news. We actually have to do a root canal there because we left that too long. And because your dentist didn't want you to be like, oh no, that sucks, and instead your dentist was just like, everything's great. Your dentist is being selfish, because your dentist is putting their feelings and their fear of your judgment and your reaction ahead of what is best for you and what's best for them and their business. Because if they just send people on the way all the time, then people are gonna be like, that dentist was shit, I came back and I still had a toothache. And so that's what people pleasing is doing. It's putting, it's selfish. It's putting your own feelings above what the other person needs to hear, right? And trying to manipulate the way that someone perceives you. And so if that's what you're feeling like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want, I want to be, I'm a people pleaser, that's really what's going on. So that is the mistake. The fear that people have around this is that they are too fucked up, that it's too hard, and they are destined to be broken forever. And working on this stuff is hard, right? If it was easy, then everyone would be walking around being like, oh my God, I feel fucking amazing, look at me. But that's not what's happening, right? It's hard, but we can take it step by step. Take breaks. So imagine if we're building that foundation. So if someone said, go and build a foundation, you'd be like, well, I don't know how to do it. And it's okay. We'll take step by step. We'll just pour a little bit of concrete, whatever it goes into foundations. And then let's have a little break. Let's have a tea break. Let's have a relax. And actually, you're done for the day. Let's go home. That's all we need to do. Just one bag of concrete and that's it. And maybe next day we'll come back, right? You don't need to know how to do it. If you're able, get someone to guide you through this, someone to help you. Then it'd be a lot easier, if you went to the work site and there's a house and there's a site foreman and she says, do you know what, actually just grab that wheelbarrow over there and just hold that for a second. That's all you need to do. And I'm going to pour in the concrete and then you just need to take it over there. Easy peasy, lemon and lime. You'd be like, okay, all right, I can do that. So that's the fear. And it's also the obstacle of not knowing how to do it. So the fear, I don't know how to do it, and therefore I won't be able to do it. And the obstacle is the not knowing how to do it. And you have to take it by step. And with the fear of like, but what if I try? And what if I try and I fail? But what if it's just impossible for me to ever become better or feel better or whatever? Well, if you try, you're either going to get the lesson you need or the result that you want. And where is the loss in trying in a very gentle and kind way, in a non kind of fucking it up way? And what a lot of people do is, like I mentioned at the beginning, is they're like, right, okay, I'm going to do it. And then they jump in feet first, and it's scary and hard and traumatizing. And they're just like, oh my God, I can't do it. See, I told you I can't do it. And it's like, well, yeah, because you jumped in the deep end, which is scary. Let's just tinkle them toes in the water first and get comfortable and take those small steps. So how do we build those foundations? How do we do this work? Well, I'm going to give you something that you can try. If you wanna, you don't have to. But something you can try is thinking about how you feel, how maybe you feel now, how you felt when you were a younger adult, how you feel, how you felt as a teenager, as a child, like what words come up. And you can just Google like feeling words. Like I felt frustrated, I felt sad, I felt happy, I felt jubilation, I felt misery, whatever it is. So you can just go and have a look and be like, this word isn't exactly right. And so you can do something like a spidergram where you write the word on a piece of paper and you just put words which are similar on the outside. Like, okay, well, I felt sad. Sad, is that the right word? Okay, so let's explore that more. Is it sad? What was it? I felt like I was in the way. What's another word for that? Oh, I felt like I was a nuisance. Yeah, okay, nuisance. What else? What else? Nuisance. Oh, I felt naughty. Yeah, I felt naughty. Okay, and then when you get to those words, feeling and working out, why is it that you felt naughty? Why is it that you felt like a nuisance? Now, FYI, if this feels big and scary and too much, then please don't do it. Like if you feel like, oh, I've had a really traumatic past and thinking about this stuff is too much, please, use your discretion to not do it. But if you feel like you're in a place where you can, go for it. Or you might want to do this work with a professional who can guide you through. So from there, okay. So why did I feel? So me personally, I did feel like I was a nuisance and I was naughty, a nuisance and naughty. So what was going on there for me to feel like a nuisance and naughty? Like what lessons did I learn around that? Okay, all right. So let's have a think about that. What lessons did I learn? And then you can go in, okay, and learn and think about what lessons you learned, and then you can decide whether you want to remove that as a lesson from your life, keep that as a lesson because it was a helpful lesson, or tweak it and change it a little bit because maybe the lesson was a little bit skew with, but you're going to tweak it and make it a new lesson that you want to change. And now it's great to be able to do this as adults because we are able to look at these situations that when we were younger, maybe we didn't have the full capacity to be like, this is what's really going on. So let me give you some examples so you can have a little think in your noggin of some things. So this doesn't all have to be negative, right? Some things you're like, do you know what? I felt really loved, and what is that accepted, and why is that? And then you can be like, do you know what? That was a wonderful, fantastic lesson that I want to learn, embrace, and continue on in my life. But here are some lessons. Okay, so growing up, my mum, she still does, has a best friend called Jane. Love Jane, best, amazing. And so Jane lived down the street. Now, my mum and Jane both were not rich, but they had this kind of game where they would try and give the other person money, and the other person would say, no, no, I'm not taking that money. And they would refuse to take it. And then they would ask me or my sister, take this money and slip it in their purse or slip it in their pocket when they're not looking. And so sometimes Jane would say that to me, or my mum would say that to me, and I'd slip it in a bag. And then later they discover it and they'd be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And so I'd interpreted that as they want to give each other presents, and that's what you do as friends, is you give each other money. And they were good friends and we really like Jane, and so when you have friends you give them money, but the friend will protest and say, no, I don't want the money, but then you'll secretly give them money. So what I learned from that was, to make friends, you need to be there. There's some exchange in goods to get the friendship. So I remember the first time I got any money, first thing I did, I went round to all of the neighborhood kids. I had 20p or something like that. I said, hey, I'm going to go to the shop on my bike. I was too young to cycling to the shop on my bike. But I had some money. And so I was like, I'm taking orders for sweets. What do you want? And then was like, I want this, I want that. And I remember like cycling off to the shop being like, yeah, I'm going to buy everyone sweets and they're going to love me. They're going to be my friend forever. And then I remember going to the shop with my like 20p. I don't even think it was 20p. I think it was like 10p. And you can get like 10p sweets. Like, so you'd get 10 little sweets. And go in and be like, give them my money and be like, can I have all the sweets? And then be like, you don't have enough money. And getting the little sweets I could get, and then cycling home, and then my mum being like, where were you? Oh my God. And then giving some sweets to my sister, and the other kids were gone home for the dinner by that time. But that's just something that stands out. Something that's a part of my personality now is I do genuinely love giving people gifts. Like just yesterday I was chatting to my next door neighbor and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the bakery to get some bread, and he's like, oh, you should get some you should try their apple fritters. And so when I was at the bakery, I got him an apple fritter and left it at his door. Because that's just, it's a little thing, but that's the way that I express my, I don't know, friendship. um, like little things, or like the guy that lives underneath me, he got a job. And so I wrote him a card and left it on his doorstep. So that's a lesson that I kind of want to keep because I like that anyway, but I want to tweak it. So my friendships are not dependent on me giving them gifts. Like I don't make friends with people who are like, I'm only going to be your friend if you give me money. Right. Which is not what happened with my mum and Jane. It's just that's how I interpreted it as a kid. So I want to embrace the idea that it's nice to give gifts, and that's not everyone's uh love language. Some people like doing different things, but that just happens to be mine. Maybe that's where I learned it from, I don't know. But I like that, and I like giving gifts, I like receiving gifts, and it's not necessarily what's in the gift. Like someone could give me a packet of chewing gum and I would be really happy. I'd be really happy with a packet of chewing gum. I fucking love chewing gum. But it's kind of like the expression of I went out of my way to show you that, you know, I'm thinking about you. Okay, so that's a lesson I want to tweak. Now, another example. I always felt naughty growing up. So, like, why did I feel naughty? Well, I would do things like I would sneak food whenever possible. So we were poor and we didn't have a lot of food, and also we were in diet culture, and so don't eat too much food because it's bad. And so I knew that I should stop this behavior of taking food when I had the opportunity, because um, it meant less food for everyone else. And so the lesson that I learned there was that I was bad and greedy, and that I was eating my family out of house and home. Is that something that your parents would ever say to you? You're eating us out of house and home. It's a weird phrase, isn't it? And which was not true. But that's how I felt as a kid. Also, because my dad was very domineering. Children would like to be not seen and not heard. Like get out of the way when he comes home, just go, just hide, just don't bother him. And so even though i I was a good kid, and I worked hard to do well at school, and my only quote unquote naughtiness was sneaking food. And I think all kids do that, right? But I saw it as there's something wrong with me, I'm so bad and I'm so naughty. So is this a lesson that I want to keep? Do I want to get rid of it, or do I want to tweak it? Well, I want to remove it. So now as an adult, I can see I was doing exactly what any other person would do in that same situation. When you're food deprived and also in diet culture, of course, you're going to be fixated on food more. And when you have limited joy in your life because we were poor and, lived in a terrible, scary neighborhood, and we didn't have access to all of the fun things that a lot of other kids had, it meant that food brought me a level of comfort and joy. And so, of course, I would do that. So I did my best and I survived. So I was not greedy. I was just a wonderful little kid who was trying to survive in life. So next, so that was my next lesson example. There was this boy who would come and visit his grandma whenever it was the summer holidays or the Easter holidays or whatever. His name was Daniel Oswin, and he was a month younger than me. And there was another girl in our street called Jenny Rogalski. So Jenny Rogalski was the same year as me, and then Daniel Ozin was the year below us, but he was like a month younger, so he was technically kind of like this. He was the same. He was the same age as us, and so us three would hang out. And so us three, Daniel would take it in turns of being my boyfriend and being Jenny Rogalski's boyfriend. Now Jenny was thin and she had like long blonde hair, and I wasn't. I was chubby kid, and what I believed is that because I wasn't thin and didn't look like Jenny, then I had to make up for it. And so to make up for it, I would do, I would kiss Daniel Oswin, and we would do all these different types of kisses. I don't know how the fuck we came up with all these different fucking type of kisses. Like I tell you what, like, okay, so I'll come up with this kiss. Like I've heard about this kiss on the street where you just suck my tongue for like 12 seconds and then I'll suck your tongue and then we put our fingers in each other's ears. Like this is a new kiss on the street. Okay, we're gonna do that. And I'll be like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So I was like maybe off 8, 9, 10. I was definitely in primary school. And so because in my mind, because I was fat, I had to do more and more uh, things with Daniel that I didn't want to do. I think I've told you a lot about this before, but about the rainbow kiss. Like one day he was like, the kids in the street was like, "Have you heard about the rainbow kiss?" And it's where you content warning here, this is disgusting, where you spit into each other's mouths, and so the other person is there with their mouth open and they're catching your spit, and so when the spit arcs in the air and falls into the mouth, it's meant to look like a rainbow, and then you return the favor. Fucking disgusting. And I remember being like, Daniel being like, "Do you want to try the rainbow kiss?" And I remember being at the time being like, gross, but I did it anyway because Jenny wouldn't do it, and Jenny didn't have to, in my mind, because she was thin and pretty, whereas I was so horrible and ugly and fat that I better be doing these rainbow kisses with Daniel Oswin because he would dump me if I didn't. This is my perception. So do I want to keep that, remove it, or tweak it? Well, I want to remove it. I am fat, and that's not bad. And I don't have to make up for the fact that I'm fat and do things like rainbow kisses if I don't want to. Now, if you're someone out there being like, "I fucking love a rainbow kiss," then go for it. But I don't want to be rainbow kissing with no one. Thank you very much. Okay, so thinking about that, that kind of idea of me dating, like quote unquote dating Daniel Oswin, and that idea that I believed that my body was bad. Well, so see how this can go. Like, okay, well, why did I believe that my body was bad? Like, why was it so clear to me that at that age 8, 9, 10, whatever I was, that my body was clearly ranked below Jenna Rogalski's? And what was going on there for me to learn that? And so what is the lesson underneath that? And do I want to keep that? Do I want to tweak it? Or do I want to throw it away? Right? And so now as adults, we can look at these and be like, what was really going on? Is that true? Is it true that I was bad? That I was, horrible and ugly and all that type of stuff, that I still am? And we can take these lessons with us and not question them. Of course I was greedy as a kid. Of course I was. I remember, because I would, take bags of crisps and eat them and hide the packets. Of course that meant I was greedy. Really? But because what was going on there? Like, what was happening? What was the alternative? Like, really? So if we examine these lessons, what we're doing is we are looking at those foundations and we are saying, okay, well, what went wrong? What was good? What needs changing? And what do we need to make a little, make a tweak to, or what do we need to throw in the bin? And with knowing that, then we can be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to date people and just not do rainbow kisses. or not feel like I am less than because I'm in a big body. And I'm going to work on overcoming that belief that I have. But if I wasn't even aware of the belief, how am I meant to overcome it? You know. So of this, let me do a little roundup, a little review of all of this. So, um, a lot of people, a lot of people want to skip ahead and do the quote unquote sexy work when it comes to learning to love your body, like wearing the bikini, um, wearing the crop top, doing the photo shoot, dating, doing the cool shit. And they don't stop to work on the foundations of their beliefs, how they're feeling, and kind of why they ended up where they're currently at, why we all believe that we aren't good enough. And so the misconception that people have is that it is unnecessary, that we can just kind of brush over the past and our feelings and what got us to where we are today. And that a big mistake that we have around this is that toxic positivity idea of just love yourself. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Just move on. And sometimes it's great to be positive, but that's not authentic. Like, we're human beings, and our brains are sometimes sad. And it's not, doesn't mean that you're a negative person if you want to delve into why you don't like your body. It means that you are doing the work. And a big fear that people have around this is that they are too broken, they are too fucked up, that it is not possible for them to overcome this stuff. And so, why bother? And they don't take action. And they don't know how to take action as well. And so, the big obstacle there is that they don't know how to get from A to B. And so they might dive in head first and traumatize themselves in diving into the deep end, or wait for confidence to miraculously just arrive to them one day, and they will magically be able to do all of these confident things. So we really need to understand how we feel, how we used to feel when we were younger, as a young adult, as a teenager, or even as a child. What ways were we feeling? What words come up when we think about how we're feeling about ourselves? And what lessons are connected to those words? And do we want to remove them, keep them, or tweak them? So, okay, so if you want to continue on the learning of this stuff, which you do, do you? Well, if you do, then come and do the challenge. Come do the challenge. It's free. It's amazing. It's going to be great. Oh my God. So go to fistfatty.com/challenge. Starts on May 3rd, 2021. I'm sure if you go to that link at any point, then there'll be replay or something. There'll be something there. Right, just go to a link. Just go there. I'll put the link in the show notes. You can get the show notes at fistfatty.com/078 for episode 78. I'm thinking about what to do for episode 100. What should we do for episode 100? When is that going to be? What magical things? Episode 100. I wrote it down. Episode 100, October 5th. It feels like, because I'm on episode 78, episode 100 is like next week or sometime, because 78 and 100 is really close to each other, but it's actually one episode a week. So October 5th, what should I do for that? Should I do like interviews with cool fat people? Tell me. Can you hear Jiggle's little tip tap toes? Jiggle, stop tip tap toeing on the floor. Yeah. So anyway, if you've got any questions that you want me to answer, then you can go fuck yourself, because I'm not going to answer them. No, you can email me. You can go to the show notes, and there's a form there for you to anonymously submit a question if you so choose. And if I think it's a question that people would like to hear the answer to, like if it's like how to I don't know, do something that I don't know how to do, how to look after a seagull, then I'd say I don't think that I can answer that on the podcast because I don't know the answer and I don't think people are interested. But if it is, then I will answer it for you. So you got any questions? Go to the show notes, fill out the form there that says questions for the show. And thanks for hanging out with me today. And I'll see you in a while. Alligator, stay fierce, fatty. See you later. Thanks for listening to the episode. And if you feel ready to get serious about this work and want to know when the doors open to Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my signature program where I teach all about how to overcome your fat phobic beliefs and learn to love your fat body, then go to fiercefatty.com/waitlist. Again, that is fiercefatty.com/waitlist to get your name on the waitlist for when Fierce Fatty Academy, my signature program, opens.